Hello, everyone. So we've heard from the bollocks yesterday, the Taoiseach. Sorry, me whole man. Sorry, excuse me. Instead of calling the bollocks, he's the me whole man. Sorry. Talking shit as he usually does, because he does nothing but talk shit in this fucking country. But he won't talk shit about anybody else. He won't talk shit about the European Union, the World Economic Forum. But he talk shit about Irish sovereignty, etc. But he won't talk shit about the European Union and stuff. It's very peculiar that he only talks shit about Irish identity and Irish Catholics, etc. He absolutely despises them. Well, he shows you where his allegiance lie. But yeah, he came up with this bullshit yesterday. He went around Wexford, Wicklow, and Waterford, where there was very bad flooding. I show the last 3 days. And of course, Micheál Martin came out with this eye-watering statement that there is no magic wand to do something about all this flooding and to help these. Because again, the majority of these people are Irish people, so they don't care. The government hate them, and they hate you and me because we're Irish, and that's the simple fact. They hate us. They have an anti-Irish agenda, pretty much, the current government. We have to call it for what it is. Like, you look around, it's just an anti-Irish agenda in every aspect of the world. We take, for example, Micheál Martin's calling us mongrels, Irish people mongrels, and then going back to about we don't want looking backwards looking idea of sovereignty, and so forth and so on about the 1916 rising that we were fighting for. I don't know what they were fighting for. Micheál Martin thinks we're fighting for everybody else but the Irish nation. That's what he seems to think, which is utterly ridiculous. But this man is the Taoiseach, just to say, he's the top man in the country, the Prime Minister. He's not just the man in the street, he's the Prime Minister. God help us all. But yeah, no, he came out with this statement about a magic wand. There's no magic wand, but there's magic wands. We see the price for iPass setters are gone up by another, going to probably skyrocket again. They're all 1.5 billion a year or so for the iPass setters. Of course, it's all a scam. We all know it. And people making huge bucks off it. The Irish people are not, but there's there's few people making a few good bit of money off it. Let's put it that way. And then we look at the National Children's Hospital, then we look at the bicycle sheds, then we look at 14 stairs, no app. And then we look at the TDs getting a pay rise. There's magic there, and then of course Ukraine, there's money for Ukraine. There's another 25 million for Ukraine, even though the European Union's have to give them the billions in a loan. But there's money for Ukraine, but there's no money for this. And the same last week too, when they were giving the money to Ukraine, they voted against. Now the opposition asked for this, and they probably should have given it. Like, let's be fair, it wouldn't have killed them. It wouldn't have cost the air too. For people on disabilities, an extra fuel, I suppose, winter allowance for them. For people on disabilities, people that can't walk, that can't walk, etc. That have medical conditions, different conditions that prevents them from walking on the disability allowance, which is about 250 or so a week, maybe a bit more in some cases. But this is the thing: the government said, "Fuck you, we don't care," and then didn't give it to them. Basically, so they're very nice, and of course they're worse off now. People on disabilities than the war in the last budget. Would you believe they're €1,000 nearly worse off than the war last year? So yeah, and it shows you they don't care because they give themselves a pay rise. But yeah, so there's no magic wand. But yeah, there's magic wand when it comes to suit the government's narrative. When it's for everybody else, but not for the Irish. And simple as that. Like, you have to be honest. If that's far right and racist, so be it. But it's just the simple truth. You look at the government's actions. I'm judging them on our actions. I'm not making up assumptions here. I have evidence suggests, because as I said there was Irish people on disabilities that didn't give a shit about them. They decided to give the money to Ukraine. And of course, Ukraine is fighting for their freedom, etc. I understand that, I get that, but the Irish people should come first of all, in any conflict or anything. The Irish people should come first. It is NATO's responsibility to sort out Ukraine and to help them out. All of them, there's nothing to do with it, basically. But this is the thing. We owe it to the Irish citizens, our citizens, to make sure they're looked after. And again, we see the politicians being looked after, etc. It just goes to show they just don't give a shit. And Micheál Martin is just talking shit, and simple as that. But he's a disgrace. He is really, really disgracing. There's some brass neck, and I suppose some people should have ran him out of the place. To be totally honest, he should have been ran out of the many other towns he went to, because they're to talk shit and get his paper and picture in the paper, and that's it. That's all he's doing. He's going to do nothing for them. He's done nothing for anybody. He's good for nothing. They might as well come good for nothing, me whole. Because that's what the whole government are good for nothing. Let's put it that way. But yeah, no magic wand. Just think about that now tonight when when you're paying your taxes and stuff. When you're going and walking tomorrow morning. Think about that when you're on the way to work. There's no magic wand when Irish people get into trouble. But then everybody else gets into trouble. Don't worry, we're there first thing in the morning. But yeah, for the only Irish person, yeah, we don't care pretty much. That's pretty much what Micheál Martin basically said. But yeah, it's absolutely disgraceful. There's no magic wand. You know, I wouldn't mind if he was telling the truth, but we all know that's not the case. When there's a agenda to be pushed by the Irish state, the money's found somewhere. It's for that when the money is needed for them to find it. But yeah, and of course then we look at the amount of money going to the European Union, the amount of money going to the World Economic Forum, etc. There's no such thing as no magic money when that comes, and no magic wand then. The money is found from somewhere. But anyway, let me know what you think, subscribe for more, and bye.